Hello, darling. I am writing because I now realize that our relationship is fast approaching its end. While I'd love to believe it could go on forever, I've, reluctantly of course, grown tired of our silly routines. The spark has simply faded, and I can't help but hold myself responsible. From the very first time I peered through your window, I knew that you were special. You were different from the rest, and I still believe that. There is something so interesting, so desirable about the way you carry yourself. The things you do when you believe you're alone. Watching you is what has kept me here for so long. In fact, I remember vividly the first time I watched you sleep. You were so peaceful, yet right when I feared I was wrong about you, that I may grow bored of you so early, a laugh. You surprised me, love. You were never like the rest. That's why I fell in love with you. You intrigued me. Nothing made me happier than to spend time with you, to see you in your natural state. Did you know that people are most themselves when no one else is around? Yes, things were so magical then. Now I've taken to watching you carry out the same routine over and over. You go to work, buy groceries, and that's it. What has happened to you? You were once so full of life. Now you're reduced to chores and hiding in bed. I have not heard a single laugh in months. Do you realize how much I miss it? I don't think you could ever understand how much you mean to me, how it pains me to hear you cry like that. I told myself that you would never hurt me, that you could never even try. Unfortunately, dear, that is where you began to resemble the others. What a pity. Tell me, do you remember the first time we spoke? That day was meant to be so special. I followed you to work that morning, hardly able to contain myself. The excitement of speaking with you that day was far too great. This was at the height of my love for you. In my eyes, you could do no wrong. I meticulously planned our meeting. You would never know that I had followed you and watched you all of these months. Although, when I gathered my courage to speak with you on the train, I was simply disregarded by you. I doubt that you even remember our conversation, or the fact that you attempted to ignore me to begin with. I could wager anything in the world that you could not even recall my name if I asked today. The conversation was nothing like I had imagined. You dimly passed my attempts at starting it with short answers. Every part of you seemed to reject me before you even knew me. That hurt, darling. When I realized that, I let slip a few things that I knew from our time at home. Of course, I knew about your social life, your quirky habits, and even your favorite drinks. I expected a warmer reaction, to say the least. I was the one who went out of my way to see you, wasn't I? I knew I understood you in a way that no one else could. That was when you stopped going out. You seemed to want to close yourself off from the world. As if to take your rejection one step further, your whimsical nature seemed to go missing once you knew about me. Did you want to hide all of yourself away from me? To even take away our time at home? I didn't mean to startle you, or scare you away. I love you. I can say now that possibly going to speak with you a second time was my own mistake, and for that I apologize. I was foolish to come to your doorstep, even though it felt like such familiar terrain. You have to understand how lost I was. I had let my emotions escalate. Soon, it was not enough to see you, to watch you. No, I needed more of you than that. I needed to interact with you once more. Having said that, our painfully short conversation and a door in my face? Well, that doesn't sit well with me. I would simply love an apology for that. What disappoints me the most is that just like all the others, you will apologize, though you won't mean it. I know this because a weapon is a great persuader. After that, everything you do will simply be out of pity. You'll see me as crazy and reject me all over again. You will comply simply to make me feel better. I can't stand pity, and I don't want yours. That is why we must bring this to a conclusion. That way, you will be mine forever. We can skip through the usual processes as I've done all that before. I will end this before the restraining orders, before I begin to get bitter. While good memories are still young. Even now that I know things are going awry, I can still look at you with no contempt. You may wonder now, what will become of you? I can assure you, darling, just as in life, you will be treated nothing like the others. I think I'll tie ribbons around cut-off locks of your lovely hair. They'll make great decorations for my bedroom. Perhaps I'll put a tack through them, so that they may hang above my bed. Your ribs may find their way onto my living room wall, especially close to the fireplace. That way, I will always know that your bones are warmed there by the fire. Finally, I found an antique tear catcher, so that your final tears could be encased in it, and that I may always have you with me. Don't mistake me, my pet. I have never treated anyone or their remains with such reverence. You are special, and you are mine. Even when I'm done with you, and we are separated more permanently, I will still be yours. I will always be yours, with each victim that comes subsequently. Even if there were ever a person who could return my affections, you will remain special among all of those who have fallen by my hand. Love, your not-so-secret admirer.
The rocking chair creaks loudly as Nana heaves her weight back and forth. She is cradling my brother, trying to put him to sleep. He has just turned 2. We had a large party with a huge cake and many, many presents. We played and we laughed, until my brother hit his head on the crib, scaring Nana. He always spoils the fun with his silliness. I hate him. It is late though, and I'm getting really sleepy. I yawn loudly, and I start sucking on my thumb. Nana comes over. "Sleepy, little prince?" she says, pecking my cheek. I giggle happily. She lays my brother down next to me and draws the dusty curtains closed. I try to get more comfortable in my crib as Nana's footsteps on the musty carpet fade away. My eyelids start closing, and I quickly fall into a sweet slumber. I woke up in the middle of the night. The moonlight shines through the curtains and makes the shadows dance in the room. I'm not afraid though. I know it's just shadows and nothing more. My focus shifts on Nana's rocking chair. So big and mysterious. I stand on my feet and crawl out of the crib, the rusty structure groaning loudly. I fall on the floor with a loud thump. But I'm not hurt. I am a big boy. I look over to my brother. Thankfully, he hasn't woken up. He is always very calm, and he never cries. I crawl towards Nana's chair. From this close, it looks so very big. I take a deep breath. I move to the front of the chair and climb up. Nana's aroma fills my nostrils. I move back and forth. The chair starts rocking softly. This is so much fun. Excited, I start to go faster, and faster, and faster. Suddenly, the chair breaks and I hit the ground hard. The door swings open, and Nana rushes in, her eyes sparkling with rage. You stupid shit! What have you done, you fuck? This is my chair, you big fat idiot! Nana screams at me. She starts beating me with a stick, and I cower in the farthest corner of the room. She throws the stick at me, but misses. She storms out of the room, shutting the door behind her. Streams of hot tears run down my face. I sit still for hours, sobbing and trembling with fear. I am a big boy. I am a big boy. I am a big boy. The morning finds me in the same position. I have been crying all night, and I'm so scared. The door starts opening, and I let out a faint cry. The door opens all the way, and Nana steps into the room. I close my eyes. Good morning, sweetie, she says in a calming voice. I brought you breakfast. It's your favorite. Chocolate milk and biscuits. Despite my best efforts to stay angry at her, I look up. My eyes two big swollen red balls. Nana kneels beside me, a huge plate of cookies in one hand and a feeding bottle with chocolate milk in the other. I lie across her lap, my head resting on her thighs. She slowly brings the bottle to my lips, and I suck the milk greedily while she strokes my hair. After I finish my milk, she gets up and leans over my brother. Oh, our little honeybee is asleep, she says, tucking him in. Better not wake him up then. She then turns towards me. She caresses my cheek and says, Nana loves you very, very much. You know that, right? I nod. She leaves. After a few minutes sucking on my thumb, I get bored. I move over to my brother to see if he's awake. He is asleep. How can he always be asleep? I try to reach him through the crib bars. I grab hold of him and drag him towards me. Why isn't he waking up? I pull him harder. His bald head sticks out from his covers, his eyes staring at me. Come down, I want to play, I plead. He doesn't move. Come on, I'm bored. He doesn't even blink. I get angry and pull him off the edge of the crib. He falls on the floor. His head shatters into 1,000 little pieces, and his glassy eyes roll on the floor. I broke another brother. Nana's going to be very angry with me. As I sit down, my hand lands on a sharp piece of glass. A small trickle of blood runs down the tip of my finger. But I won't cry. I am a big boy. I start licking my finger. As I do, I look at the mirror on my left. I'm starting to really outgrow my clothes. It feels like I've been wearing them for years. Also, my beard is starting to get bushy again. I have to ask Nana to shave it. Oh, how lucky I am for Nana. She is always taking care of me. But someday I will have to move out. After all, I am a big boy.
I'm afraid to look outside windows at night. I guess some people are. It's just paranoia, right? You don't want to look outside your window at night and come face to face with an abhorrent creature. But again, it's just paranoia, right? Too many scary movies, spending too much time on creepypasta. Well, let me just tell you that you have a reason to be scared. Occasionally, you glance outside the window. You might want to know what the weather is like, or you might have a completely different reason. Regardless of your reason, you're not expecting anybody to be standing on thin air outside your window. You look at your computer screen, it's getting late. It's just you and your friend at home. You look over at him and realize that he's fallen asleep already. You should go to sleep too, but you want to spend a bit more time reading some creepypastas. You see a shadow in your peripheral vision and immediately shift your eyes to the window. Nothing. You're relieved. You look back at your computer screen and hear a loud thud on your window again. A bit more scared this time. You were right to be scared. You see your friend's body hanging outside your window. You're horrified. It's then that you realize that your friend was in his bed a few minutes ago. You look over at his bed and see someone lying there. That's not your friend.
It was the winter holiday, and my family was visiting for December. One of my favourite pastimes was playing video games with my cousins. We weren't a well-off family, so we would often play older games on what seemed like an antique television. Switching on the TV, it immediately cut out with a flash. The TV died. We decided to go into town and get a replacement the following day. Visiting a few pre-owned electronics stores, we chanced upon a curious little set. It looked about 10 years old. I was pretty sure it still worked, so I took the chance. When my cousins and I got back to my place, we set it up, checking which channels worked. I found in the remote compartment. It still had its original warranty, which expired on the 31st of October 2003. That amused me. The TV channels were crap, despite the set having its own aerial. We soon learned all the channels had snowy reception, except for channel 0, which was for video input. I played some multiplayer games with the cousins for a while. They had since gone home when I moved on to some more atmospheric games. I loaded up Eternal Darkness, Sanity's Requiem. To those unfamiliar with the game, it's a horror game based around the effects of the protagonist's mental health. The very instant I powered up the game, there was a flash of lightning, followed by some thunder outside. I thought nothing of it, as it had been raining on and off throughout the day. Admittedly, I was new to this game, so my character died a few times to begin with. The sky crashed with thunder and lightning outside, but what was really strange was that I could swear the TV started to leak a bit from the top corner of the screen. I wiped it away, and the tissue revealed a wet, red substance. What was this? Blood? No. Maybe this was some kind of technical defect. But why red? I played more of the game, and my character died a few more times. The TV started to leak again, but the fluid was a light green this time. I wondered if maybe the circuitry of the TV was melting from overheating, but the set wasn't hot when I touched it. The red could have come from an LED light or something. I never noticed this problem when I played games with the cousins before. The light bulb in my room died. I thought about replacing it, but decided it might be fun to play in the dark. I played more of the game and my character's sanity was still quite high. A jump scare flashed on screen of a skull with eyes screaming. At the very same time, a flash of lightning and thunder occurred outside. The sanity meter on screen had decreased to just over half. With all that was going on, I was pretty freaked out, but most of how the character's sanity seemed to mirror my own. I gave it a rest for a while. I paused the game to get myself a drink. I thought it odd how the sky flashed and thundered outside only as I played the game. I had a break from the game, almost as long as I'd been playing it, and yet, nothing. No thunder or lightning, not even once. I returned to playing the game and eventually ran into a group of living skeletons. I was doing well to hold them off, but they seemed to keep coming from nowhere. Eventually, they closed in on me, but they stopped. They stood there for a while before suddenly turning to the camera and screaming. Their scary, leering heads zoomed towards the screen. I jumped and screamed. The channel cut to static. It occasionally flashed between red and green colours, and another screaming skull ran right up close. My door slammed shut, the window locked, and the curtains swiftly drew themselves together. I couldn't open either. And among the red and green flashing images on the TV, it suddenly cut to black, with a subtle droning noise. Confused, I went up close to the screen. One final skeleton head rushed towards the screen and screamed. The TV switched itself off. I was the most scared I'd ever been. This was the kind of thing that only happened in my nightmares. Waking from sudden images and screaming sounds to dead silence. I got a torch and shone it on the TV's on-off switch. It didn't appear to be on or off, but as I tried to press it, it wouldn't move at all. I figured it was best to try and get some sleep. As impossible as that seemed, I eventually drifted off. I was woken to a loud crash of thunder and lightning outside, with what seemed like a small earthquake starting up. The tremors grew rougher and louder to the point where even my bed couldn't stay still. The roof was shaking, and all the tiles broke away to reveal a dark purple sky with a black vortex cutting right through it. It pulled me up into the void. All I could do was watch the house get smaller and smaller, the town's lights get dimmer and dimmer. I was pulled above a sheet of clouds and had trouble breathing. The clouds and purple sky faded, the colour beneath my feet getting darker and darker, until little glowing balls of light began to emerge. Choking profusely, I realised I was now in space. I turned around to see a skull as big as a planet. It screamed and zoomed towards me. That was the last thing I saw. Or so I thought. I felt a sting in my arm before awaking in a bright white room, my arms crossed over each other. I was happy. So happy that I laughed and laughed and laughed and laughed and laughed.
Hey guys, if you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up and share it with your friends. You can also leave a comment below. All feedback, good or otherwise, is always appreciated. If you have any creepy stories of your own, or have any topics that you would like me to cover, feel free to send them in via any of my social media. You can find all links to my social media in the description below. Until next time guys, make sure you lock your doors, stay safe, and I'll see you next video.